Let's talk about converting between percents, decimals, and fractions. It's not going to be that bad if we consider the meaning of percent. Percent means fraction out of 100.
Excuse me?
Yes, they actually took, somebody did, the number 100
Allow me to demonstrate.
and made a fraction out of it. How would you make a fraction? A fraction has a numerator and a denominator, doesn't it? Well, we have the line. Put that down there. And for the numerator, we'll use a 0. And for the denominator, we'll use the other 0. And you've made a fraction out of that number 100.
Well, look what we got here.
Look what we have. We've got the percent symbol. So, what a great symbol. It means fraction out of 100. And I think you can remember that. So when we go to write a percent as a decimal, for instance 53%, if we wanted to make that a decimal, just remember that percent means out of 100. Out of, or division by 100. We want to take that percent and divide it by 100. Recall that when there isn't a decimal place, it's at the end. And when we divide by 100, we move the decimal place to the left 2 places. 1 place for 10, 2 places for 100. And we'll get 53 100ths. Makes sense, doesn't it? 53% is 53 100ths. Now it's a decimal. Why would you want it to be a decimal? Because you're going to be able to do calculations with it then. Let's do another one. 4.6%. Remember that percent means division by 100. Okay, so let's replace that sign with division by 100. Recall how to divide by 100? The original decimal in this case is right there. We're going to move it over from there 2 places for division by 100. Now we don't have 2 places, so we have to create one. And you have there what is 46 1,000ths, which is really 4.6 100ths, or 4.6%. And now you have it as a decimal. Got it? Now let's work backwards and try and write a decimal as a percent. Probably even easier. There's your decimal. Now remember, with a decimal, that's the 10ths digit. We're really not that interested in that one this time. What are we interested in? We're interested in the 100ths digit, because percent means hundredths. So since percent means per 100, let's just read it in hundredths. Use this as the decimal position. We kind of went backwards, didn't we? We went back 2 positions. So this would be said or read 45 100ths. And what percent is 45 100ths? Of course.
Oh, no!
That's what 45% means. 45 out of 100. Let's do another one. We want to write this decimal as a percent. Well, we're going to read it from the hundredths position. How many hundredths is this? You could say 1 and 25 100ths, but we're going to keep it as kind of an improper fraction. And from this position, we have 125 100ths, which means what? 125 100ths, it's 125%, because fraction out of 100 means percent. This one looks a little bit more difficult, but it's not. We're going to read it from the hundredths position, so we'll have to put our decimal at the hundredths position. Well, temporarily, we would say, illegally of course, a decimal and a fraction. 1.3, I read it from the hundredths position, 1.3 100ths. Well,
Hey, Hey, this is great, man.
That's what it means, 1.3%. So just read the number from the hundredths position. Now let's write a percent as a fraction. We kind of already did that. I give you a percent. Remember what that percent sign means. It means out of 100 or per 100. So that's 40. Now we'll add the out of 100 part. It's 40 out of 100. So we've changed the percent to a fraction. Oh, but it's not going to be a correct answer unless we reduce. Okay, you can break up the 40 and break up the 100 and reduce, or know the magic number to divide top and bottom by. In this case, 1 in the form 20 over 20. And I'll get 2/5.
Cool.
And I've changed the percent to a fraction. How about this one with a decimal? Well, we might have to do a little bit of screwiness here. 100 is going to be the denominator, but
Houston, we have a problem.
we can't have a decimal in a fraction. So what are we going to have to do with that 3.7 to get the decimal, or at least to the end? We're going to have to move it over 1. Well, when we move it over 1, we're really multiplying by 10. And if I do that to the top, I have to also do it to the bottom, which I'm allowed to do. So I'll multiply by 1 in the form 10 over 10, and I'll get 37 in the numerator and 100 times 10, 1,000 in the denominator. Now, if that wasn't reduced, I'd be required to reduce it, but it is reduced.
You are correct, sir.
So we're in good shape.
Uh-oh.
Now, what about 100%? That's certainly going to be used often. If we wanted to change that to a fraction or a number, well, should be easy. Remember again, we're going to do the same thing. Percent means out of 100. So 100% or 100 out of 100. What is the number 100 out of 100?
Is that your final answer?
No, we have to reduce. This is easy to reduce. We'll divide top and bottom by 100. You get 1 over 1, or 1. And that's important to remember. 100% is the same as the number 1. 100% of something, of meaning times, is the same as multiplying by 1.
That's the fact, Jack.
So always, if you get baffled, always remember 1 is the same as 100%, and 100% is the same as 1. Now I need you to recall the multiplication property of 1. In English, it says anything times 1 equals itself. 5 times 1 equals 5, equals itself. X times 1, anything, even a letter, times 1 equals itself. I don't even know what this is. Times 1 must equal. Anything times 1 equals itself. Now that's important to recall when we talk about writing a fraction as a percent. Here's 3 examples. 9/20 as a percent. Well, we can multiply it by 1 by the multiplication property of 1. And 1
That's the fact, Jack.
is 100%. So let's replace 1 with 100%. Now we're getting that percent in there. Put a 1 under there to make it easier to multiply. Top times top and bottom times bottom. And I always tell people, before you multiply, reduce. And reduce early while the numbers are still small. So the 20 will cancel with 100. And I'm going to get basically 45 over 1. 9 times 5 is 45. 45%. And I've changed that 9/20 to a percent just by multiplying by 100%, which is 1. 2 2/3, I'm going to multiply by 1 in the form
You look marvelous.
100%. Kind of like it when there's a 1 underneath. It looks more like a fraction. And I'll get 200%, or 200 divided by 3%. And 200 divided by 3 is 66 2/3. What about something like this that's more than 1? Well, that leads me to believe that I'm going to get more than 100%, because 1 is 100%. Well, I go 1 times 2 plus 1, change that to a fraction, 3/2. Now I'll use the same trick, multiplying by 1 in the form 100%, and I'll get 300. Oh, I won't yet. I have to reduce first. Canceling. Cancel while they're small. No sense in dealing with 300. 3 times 50. And there's my answer. Pretty cool. So in summary, our conversions are going to be thus. To go from percent to decimal, drop the percent sign and replace it with division by 100. Or in other words, move the decimal point 2 digits to the left. Remember, the left is where the number is going to get smaller. So you're dividing by 100. To go from decimal to percent, you're going to read the number with the decimal moved to the hundredths digit. Basically 2 to the right. 2 to the right of its original position. And then you have to reattach the percent sign because you went from a decimal to a percent. To go from percent to fraction, write the number part over 100, just the number over 100, and then reduce. Or, if you need to get rid of the decimal, multiply by the appropriate value of 10. And to go from a fraction to a percent, multiply the fraction by 1 in the form 100%, and then reduce if you need to. Okay?
That's all, folks.